Hello, I'm Ken Besler coming to you from Canada. Today, I'd like to embark upon a two-part series entitled The Time of the New Testament Message. What was the time of the New Testament message? What is the evidence or events that support its arrival? How does Scripture define it? Let us consider Matthew chapter 24, verses 1 to 14, and historical people and events, beginning with verse 1. And Jesus, leaving the temple, his disciples came to him to point out to him the buildings of the temple. But Jesus said to them, "Do you see all of these things? Truly I say to you, not one stone shall be left upon the other, which shall not be thrown down." This is the context of chapters 24 and 25. Next, verse 3. And as he was sitting upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us when these things shall be." Consider the threefold question of the disciples. It was one question with three components. So verses 4 to 14 give to us the time. Continuing, and what is the sign that you have come? Verses 15 to 35 give to us information about the sign and of the completion of the age. Verses 36 to 51 addresses the end, that is, the end of the Old Covenant era. And Jesus answering says to them, "Take heed lest anyone should mislead you." Consider audience relevance. Jesus was speaking to his disciples. "For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and many will mislead." This raises the question, were there false messiahs during this era? Besides Jesus, several other figures claimed to be the Messiah in the first century, including, these things can be found online, Dositheus, the Samaritan priest who believed he was the Jewish Messiah; Simon Bar Kokhba, a leader of the Bar Kokhba revolt against the Romans, who was hailed as the Messiah by some Jewish scholars. Simon Bar Kokhba, he led a revolt against the Romans and was widely accepted as the Messiah by many Jews. Verse 6. But you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not disturbed, for it is necessary that all these things should occur, but the end of the age is not yet. For nation shall rise up against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Were there wars during this era? First century saw significant conflicts, including Roman conquests in Britain, the Jewish rebellion, and wars with Parthia, amidst a backdrop of political upheaval and territorial expansion. The major conflicts and wars. Roman conquests. The Roman Empire expanded its territory significantly during the first century. Notable campaigns included the conquest of Britain, where the Romans faced fierce resistance from local tribes, including the Iceni led by Boudicca. The Romans ultimately established control over much of the region. Jewish rebellion 66 to 73 AD. This was a major uprising against Roman rule in Judea, culminating in the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. The rebellion was fueled by religious and political tensions, leading to significant loss of life and exile of many Jews. This is also known as the First Jewish War, of which there had been 3 consecutively. Wars with Parthia, 58 to 63 AD. The Roman Empire engaged in a series of conflicts with the Parthian Empire, primarily over control of Armenia. These wars were marked by shifting alliances and territorial disputes, ultimately resulting in a stalemate where both empires maintained influence over Armenia. And also in the first century, Tacfarinas' revolt, 17 to 24 AD. In North Africa, the Roman general Tacfarinas led a rebellion against Roman authority, uniting various Berber tribes. Although initially successful, the revolt was eventually suppressed by Roman forces. The Eastern Han Dynasty conflicts. In East Asia, the first century was marked by internal strife within Chinese dynasties. The Western Han Dynasty was overthrown in 980, leading to the establishment of the Qin Dynasty, which faced rebellions before being replaced by the Eastern Han Dynasty in 2580. The Eastern Han also dealt with conflicts against the Qiongnu tribes. The context and impact. First century was characterized by the Pax Romana, a period of relative peace and stability within the Roman Empire, which allowed for expansion and consolidation of power. However, this era also saw significant resistance and conflict, particularly in the provinces, as local populations resisted Roman rule. The outcomes of these wars had lasting impacts on the political landscape of Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, shaping the course of history for centuries to come. Continuing from verse 7, "And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different places, but all these things are the beginning of sorrows." Were there famines, earthquakes, and pestilences during this era? Famines. Immediately preceding Nero's reign, many died in a huge famine affecting the whole Roman Empire. Earthquakes. Again, during Nero's reign, there were earthquakes in Laodicea, Crete, Smyrna, Miletus, Chios, Samos, Hierapolis, Colossae, Campania, Judea itself, and Rome. However, these may not have been well recorded due to the upheaval of the time. Josephus, who had been a historian of the day, gave accurate accounting of many events. Verse 9, "And they will deliver you to tribulation, and will kill you, and you will be hated by all nations on account of my name. And then many will be offended, and they shall deliver up, and will hate one another." Note audience relevance. Jesus was speaking to the apostles. We know of the great struggle that both Jews and Christians suffered under the rule of Rome. Verse 11, "And many false prophets will arise and mislead many, and because lawlessness will have greatly increased, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved." Were there false prophets during this era? While not well recorded, one prophetess is of note, Amia of Philadelphia, of the late 1st century to the early 2nd century, also known as Amia the prophetess, was an early Christian prophetess in the Christian community of Philadelphia, located in the Roman province of Asia, Ellasir, Turkey. The historian Eusebius had written about her influence. While not a false prophet, prophets and prophetesses were present. Verse 14, "And there shall be proclaimed these glad tidings of the kingdom in all of the inhabitable earth, for a testimony to all the nations, and then shall the end of the age come." Thank you for joining me. Until next time, God bless.